Now, guys, there's been having a lot of news that's going on. A lot's been going on. And I want to speak about this today. I want to talk about how the markets have actually gapped it this morning on ceasefire, right? Most traders chased it. And let me show you what institutions are actually doing. So if you're diving in today, we're going to be talking about what the institutions are doing, some of the headlines that actually drive the market, and how you can put all of this stuff together. So let me go and get my charts ready. If you can, let me know where you're coming in from. I get people from all over, which is always a blessing. But I want to see where you're coming in from, and then let me know if you're actually trading. I'm a big futures trader. I personally believe that everybody should trade futures. And so, as I'm going to be doing this today, we're going to be looking at the futures market, and I want to kind of give you some headlines. Now, here's the only thing that I ask, right? As we're doing this, if it's making some sense, go ahead and give your boys some support. Put a 7 in the chat. Go ahead and like it, share, subscribe. Because here's the mission. The mission is we want to reach 1 million people, teaching people the skills of day trading so that you can live life on purpose and build God's kingdom. Yes, we're faith-based here. We are for profit for a purpose. So we want to be able to help people understand the skills of day trading. Does that make sense? So let me go ahead and adjust my screen. I'll flip this around. We're going to have a lot of moving parts. If you're expecting a boring teacher, let me tell you right now, I'm not that guy. But I promise you this, if you're willing to learn, I can educate in a way that'll start to make some sense, okay? So I'm going to flip this around. I'm actually recording this on multiple different platforms. We've got this coming off of YouTube. We've got this on TikTok. We've got this on Facebook, and we wanted to be able definitely to reach out to people. So now we're looking at the E-mini NASDAQ futures. Let me just kind of tell you what's been happening in the headline today. So the first thing that we had was ceasefire headline, and it produced an overnight gap. Yep. And the headline rally was not an institutional buying. So let me go ahead and go back to the 1 hour right out here. And we're going to go back until we heard some news, right? And so let's go to Sunday. I want to zoom right into this particular area. You guys see that? And we're going to see that there was a move since once the market opened last night from here to here. Does that make sense? So there was a big move in the market, right? It went from 24,040 all the way up to 24,450. So folks, we're talking about a 300 some point move, which is absolutely huge. Now let's zoom out a little bit, right? Let's see how we can't chase candles. The big takeaway today is let's not chase candles, but let's look at some of the micro and macro economics that's affecting the market. But what I do want to do is I want to start marking off some spots, right? So I want to mark out this area right around here. There was a gap. And then I want to look at this side over here as well, right? And so some of you've heard of the term fair value gap. It just basically means where there was an imbalance in the market, right? And this imbalance is going to kind of help us see where we can get some entries in it, okay? So I want us to kind of look at this 3 candle formation right out here. I don't know if you guys can see this. We've got candle 1, candle 2, and 3. And there's an indicator I like to put on. It just kind of lays it out for you. But check this out. It lets me know exactly where if I want to enter the markets, I can enter just based on the gap. So people absolutely love that. Now, I think indicators are good. Some of them are lagging, but I like the idea of using something that's going to help me out in the markets, right? And so if you look at that fair value gap, that was between 24,094 to 23,901, right? So a little bit of some room in there. But the idea is that as I'm looking in the market, I've got to look at the whole picture. So just look at this candle right out here, right? And so when we look at the candle, what we have to basically tell ourselves is this was an institutional move, right? And this institutional move was that. Shout out to somebody that I have in Ohio reaching out to me. Good, man. If you're not trading, we got to start trading. But I really appreciate you jumping on this one. Yep. So let's get back to it, right? We're looking at this, right? And we see this fair value gap, and we see that the market is starting to move. And I really want to go back to here because this is going to let me know when did this move actually start. So let me go back to this one. I'm jumping around. My apologies. I'm not doing this off my big screen, but we're here, okay? So you guys see that, right? That was Thursday's move. And I want to mark out this spot around here because this was a potential U-turn. Now, track with me. Track with me. If you also look to the left, you see that there was another gap that we were into. And so watch this. We want to use all the market information to really see what are these market makers doing to showcase the candles? Folks, this is very important. Let me give you another headline. So Friday was non-farm payroll, right? It happens on the first Friday of every single month. And so they were expecting less than 60,000 jobs to be added. And guess what happened? 178,000 jobs were added. So we had a very strong jobs report that came out, and that's another reason that moved the market. And then also with the strong jobs report, Feds keep rates higher. So there's pressure on stocks and futures. So we're seeing a collaborative of all of this stuff coming together. Now track with me, right? Price is currently right around here. And what I want to do is I want to go to a little bit of a higher time frame, because if I can go to a higher time frame, track me on this one. I want to see, are we running into an area where they were selling? And so check this out, ladies and gentlemen. We're right here. If we go to the left, we can see there's a bunch of selling. I want everybody to see this, right? Who sees this, right? I'm going to put a big old yellow circle and I'll take it off. But who sees this big area of selling right around here? Let me know if you see that. And it's very important for you to understand this, because there's something significant if price was hanging around that area for a while. Am I speaking some truth, somebody? Somebody talk to me, please. So the reason I'm saying that is that anytime I'm approaching the markets, I'm always trying to find some key levels, right? And so I like to call those key levels pivot points, right? So let me put this up here, and it's going to help you out a little bit, right? So we're going to go to pivot high and lows, and notice that we're starting to get an overlap in pricing. Let me come to the left side first, and then we'll move in. Track with me. Who sees this one? 24,507, 24,550, 24,539. There was something significant about this area. Look to the left over here. Do you see that number? 24,763, followed by a huge green candle that's been lifting weight. Somebody give me a 7 if you're tracking with me right now. I'm saying this because these are footprints, and it's my job as a trader to understand the footprints. Now, we have a very big week this week. Let me flip the camera around. We have a very big week this week, and one of the big things for this week is we have the FOMC minutes Wednesday, and then we have CPI coming this week. So what does CPI stand for? Consumer Price Index, Consumer Price Index. So in the Consumer Price Index, over 80,000 data points. How much are our parking tickets? Come on. How much is a latte? What are insurance premiums? And so they take all of this information. You know what they do with this information? They bring it to the Federal Reserve. Very important for us that if we're going to be trading, we have to understand the outside moving parts, because the outside moving parts are going to show us the bigger picture. So I want to say this as well. There's people on this live with me right now that want to learn how to trade. I want to invite you to go to the link in my bio. You can actually check out our website, which is kdtinstitute.com/apply, because we're going to be doing some live teaching. So we can do it either live in North Dallas if you're out here, or if you want to be able to do it virtually, which a lot of people do, we do some Zoom trainings. And here's what we focus on. Our belief is everybody should be trading futures. Futures allows you to trade the equities. What am I talking about? S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, the Dow Jones, the Russell 2000. Come on, somebody. It gives you the ability to trade oil. You think that's important right now? It's over 100 and something a barrel. We can trade gold. We can trade silver. We can trade wheat. So you get the ability in the futures market to really spread yourself and be diversified. And here's the power of this. What I really love about this is that you don't have to tie up so much money. Give me a 7 if you're tracking with me right now. I know on TikTok, we've got about 85 people watching. Let's see, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. We got a couple of people showing up. But at the end of the day, let's get some education on what this means. All right, let's get back to the charts. So what I want to do next is I'm looking at these areas, and as a scalper, right, as a scalper, I really want to change the game. And the game that I want to change is I'm looking at these areas. So watch what I'm doing. I'm putting all of this together. I'm looking at a 1-hour time frame. And what I'm basically saying, around this area, it looks like there's a bunch of selling going on. And so I'm going to put that in red. Does that make sense? Now, although this is an area of selling going on, I still need more information because, again, I'm looking at this as at the hour time frame. I'm looking at this from a scalping perspective, right? And so there's some key levels that I want to pay attention to, right? And I actually put out a report this morning. So if you're on my Facebook, you should have got it. If you're on my LinkedIn, you should have got it. One of the key levels that we need to look for is between 24,434, 24,434 to 24,671. Yep. And notice that these numbers are right around here. I put this in the report. The NQ support levels at 23,989. That's an overnight low. Potentially, we could have a stop hunt right there. But what we're also looking for is to see if we can get a rally above the 2,400 level. That's what we're shooting for. Okay. So if you look at price currently right now, boy, your friends just call you at the wrong time, don't they? Yeah. So if we can get a break above this level, this is what we're going for. So track with me, right? I'm going to zoom in a little bit and I want to get more information. Now, folks, if you're getting some value out there, if you haven't given me a follow, do me a favor and give me a follow, please. That's all that I'm asking, right? I just ask for the law of reciprocity. If you're learning something, just serve your boy well and say, okay, hey, man, I'm learning. So let's go in and do something right quick, right? We are at the 1 hour time frame. We're looking at this as a scalper. And a majority of people watching me right now are going to be looking at this as a scalper. And what does that mean? I'm looking to get in and out of the market very, very quickly. Put a 7 in the chat if you like the idea that you want to be able to get in and out of the market quickly. You're not trying to be in here all day long. You're not trying to just study the charts all day long. You want to see, where can I get in? Where can I? Does that make sense? So in order for us to do that, we need to look at 3 different time frames. If you're listening to me right now, go ahead and put the number 3. Now, I'm getting some comments coming in. I got stuff all over the place. So listen, no disrespect if I don't answer you, but I do see you. I appreciate that. Okay. So I'm looking at the 1 hour time frame. What I want to do now is I want to do top-down analysis, but I'm looking for the word called confluence. Say that with me. Confluence. Say it with me. Confluence. Am I seeing something that's adding up, that's adding up, that's adding up? Does that make sense? So I'm not just randomly taking trades. I'm taking trades where things start to line up. And here's the thesis behind it. Let me sip some water. I'm looking for high quality setups with low risk and high reward. Put a 7 in the chat if that makes some sense. That's what we're looking for. High quality setups, low risk, high reward. If you're tracking, let's keep on going. So I'm going to flip the camera around. We're going to go from the 1 hour to the 15 minute. Okay, you guys tracking? 1 hour to the 15 minute. Notice now we're really getting an overlap. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up this chart. And does everybody see what's going on? Look at price currently right there. Price is right out here. Who sees it? Let me draw an arrow for you. I'm not going to lie, folks. This stuff is fun. Now, track with me. Notice that price is starting to get a little bit of a sell-off. Where can it go? Everybody say, where can price go? Now, we got somebody that's spamming, folks. Chart master. Let's go ahead and block them. Oh, every time I get a live, people are lazy, boy. They'll try to jump on your live and then drive people to their live. How sad is that? So we're looking at this candle right out here, and I just want you to kind of touch on this one, right? I want you to touch on this one. Notice that the market came up here in the sell zone, shot up, and now it's starting to drop, but it's formulating a pattern called a drop-based drop. It's formulating that. Now, I want to take out the right tools. So you guys ready? I want to take out the right tools. So one of the tools that I love to use, and I'm sorry, I've been talking the whole time and nobody even told me. There you go. Now you get to see it. Now you get to see it. You see how the candle's dropping. So we want to find out how far is it dropping and where is it going. So notice this area right around here, right out here. You guys see it? So when we're looking for entries, we never want to be buying when the candle's going high. We want it to pull back because that can be a form of a retest. Okay, track with me. So I'm going to put on something called the volume profile. I love the volume profile. And what the volume profile does, it shows me where the action is. And I get to trade with the action versus against the action. Does that make sense? Now, there's a red line that is populated. I don't know if you guys can see this. This red line is called a point of control, POC. Write that down, please. POC, point of control. And this point of control simply means it's showing me where a majority of the action happened. Are you guys tracking with me, right? So price went up, it came right back in this area. Notice that we're getting a little bit of a rejection in the area. Let's go to the 5-minute. And look at that, we see the buyers are coming in. So watch this. If I take this trade, I want my stop at the bottom. And if I'm wrong, I lose quickly. But if I'm right, I can take it to the upside. So let's get on it, right? NASDAQ, we don't even have to do a whole bunch on this one. Watch this. We're going to just do one order, right? We're just going to do one candle, one contract. Let me put this in place. Bear with me. Create a limit order. Boom. We're in the trade, folks. You guys see it? We're in the trade. Now, look at this one. We're going to make some modifications. So watch the modification. You guys ready? Let's zoom out to the 30-minute. And let's see where would we want to take profit. So watch this. I want to target some highs that we've been to already. So watch this first move I'm going to do. I'm going to do an adjustment on that one, and I want to target this previous high. Does that make sense? Also, I want to give it a little bit of wiggle room. So I want to move this one down to target right at that low over here. Are you guys tracking with me? Yep, right around that area. So that if I'm wrong, I lose quickly. But if I'm right, I have some wiggle room. Now let's go there a little bit, right? This is one of the biggest things whenever we're wanting to set up a trade. Let's look at why we looked at the trade. So let's look at the far left over here. And can everybody see? And I'm getting everybody calling me at the wrong time. Hold on, let me do this something. So I just put the do not disturb one. I am so sorry. Okay, there we go. So if we look to the left over here, do you guys see that at one time, this was a controlling swing low? Let me just go ahead and mark this out. We're looking at market structure. You guys seeing that? So right around that 24 level, and I kind of read it off to you, right? The level that we want to see broken. We want to see it break above 24.90. So notice right around here, this was a swing high. And I'm going to mark it off in black. Are you guys tracking? So price went up, danced around, and notice this candle broke above. Watch this. Pulled back, and then we've had another candle that closed above. Watch this one. Fake to the upside, closed down, but it's still maintaining, right? It's still letting us know that it looks like the market wants to go up. So look what we're doing is we're paying attention to this. Now, simultaneously, we also have to understand the movements because watch this, we're down 550. We're willing to risk 1,600. So let me explain this to you so that we can get this. A lot of people would love to trade NASDAQ 100, but here's where a lot of people don't understand. And let's go ahead and get some knowledge of this one. Do you see this box right out here? This box stands for the average true range box, right? And let me see if I can move this out the way. Let me just get an adjustment. I'm sorry. Okay, where are you at? Box is top center. Let's go to top right. There we go. Even better. You guys see that? So on the NASDAQ, if I want to trade the NASDAQ, it's not that you can't make money on the NASDAQ, which you absolutely can. But here's what you got to factor in. On average, it moves 541 points. So if you do the math on this one and you did one contract, it would be 541 times 20. And that's the average true range. Now, listen, as scalpers, we're not going to be in there all day long. Truth be told, we want to catch between 10 and 50 points. So whenever we do a stop loss, right, watch the adjustment that I'm going to make. I can do 10% of the APR, which is 54.25. So watch this minor adjustment that I'm going to make. And I'm going to put this adjustment based on what my entry was, which is the blue line. And watch this. I'm going to go down to, it says $54. You guys see that? So watch this one. I'm making an adjustment based on how it moves. Now, why is that important? If I'm going to be trading an asset like the NASDAQ, I first have to understand how it moves, because how it moves is going to tell me what my risk needs to be. Does that make sense? So this is a cheat code. If you guys want to take this down, right, use the ATR as a way to gauge how you should be risking. So watch this. I'm only risking 10% of the average true range. That's it. So if I'm wrong and this bad boy drops down here, you know what I'm going to say? God bless it. Look at it, folks. It's pretty much right there. And guess what? We'll just go on to the next trade. But one of the ways that we stay in trading is we clearly have to define our risk each and every time. And if you look at what's going on, right, it retouched that area. We don't want to chase it. We don't want to move it. This is how people blow up accounts. It gets here or they're down and they start to panic. So let's take the panic off the table. The way that we take the panic off the table is I'm willing to risk X, and that's it. So you can actually use this tool, the daily ATR box. It lets you know exactly what your risk could be. And so watch this. If you're going to be trading NASDAQ, I'm going to suggest that you be at these numbers. Me personally, I do about 10% because I know how often and how quick this can move. Does that make sense? Is this helping somebody? So let's just say, for instance, what if we get stopped out? Do we stop trading for the day? Do we say this isn't working? Do we tell ourselves, okay, so can I find another entry? Watch this. In the markets, you can find an entry, but there's a lot of things that you can't control. You don't know what's going inside of this candle. Are you guys tracking with me? You don't. So instead of chasing the candle, because look at it, this one is dropping. A lot of people can then say, listen, I just want to sell this candle down. But what if you waited and this candle starts to turn around? Does that make sense? Now look at what just happened. We just took a loss over here, but we took a loss based on our risk to reward ratio. Let me flip the camera around. Is this making sense? Because watch this. Anybody can show a profit being made, but how do you follow a schedule of taking a loss and using a discipline so it starts to work for you? So rule of thumb, and I always tell this for my students, rule of thumb. Let's say that you just took a loss. Do you just jump back in because you lost your money and you want to get your money back? Somebody talk to me, put it in the chat. Do you just jump in? You lost some money, boo-hoo, it's not working. You told yourself you were just going to be studying and you were going to alleviate losing across the board. Is that realistic? Somebody talk to me, please. The answer is no. So watch this. If I see that in NASDAQ, it didn't work for me, and let's just act as if 15 minutes have passed by, I'm not just restricted to just looking at NASDAQ. Heck, I could go to the S&P 500. There's many different things I can look at. I can trade gold. I can trade the pound. I can trade crude oil. So right now, I'm going to go to the S&P 500. And as I go to the S&P 500, I'm going to look at what the market is saying. And somebody tell me, it looks like we're getting a little bit of a sell-off right there. Do you see it? But notice where the action is. Right around here. Now, this is a 5-minute chart. So what I want to do, I'm not going to trade at the 5-minute. I need to go a little bit higher, and I need to ask myself, are we at an area that we could have some retracement? And so let's look at it. We had the sellers that came in here. We had some sellers that came in here. We had some sellers that came in here. Can I ask a question? Is this higher than these other ones? Let's put a mark there. So now we see that we're at a higher point right around here, right? And we're coming to an area where the point of control was. The question we want to ask ourselves is the market shifting or is it becoming at a discount? Well, how would you know that? We can look at the candle formation right out here, and we can see that this is where a U-turn happened. Now, this is where patience comes in, right? And whenever you're teaching live, one or two things will happen. Sometimes you can catch some moves in front of everybody. And then oftentimes, you hang up the call and then it starts to happen, right? So we could look at this and see potentially that the markets could shift right at this area. Notice we have a little bit of a W that formed. Is this helping somebody? Do me a favor. If you haven't given me a follow, have I earned your follow right now? That's what I want to ask over here, right? And then I've got the people that's on YouTube, different places. I want to say good morning to everybody. Are we having a good time, right? I wanted to do a commentary that it started to make some sense. Okay, so now let's look at this, right? On the 1 hour, it looks like we're starting to get some rejection right around here. Does this make sense? So I'm looking at this candle. I see it came into this area. Notice that this candle has not broken above here or below here. Let me put this in purple. Track with me. It's maintained market structure. Are you seeing it? It's maintained it. So we're not taking a trade yet. We just want to see, are there things lining up that are telling us potentially that this could be a good trade? So now let's look at this move. Let's zoom in a little bit, right? And this is why you want to look at 3 different time frames, because you want to get into the details, right? You want to see what are the details saying. So look at this. We had it where it was selling, buyers took it up. Now it's coming down right into that area. In essence, if we wanted to, this could have been an entry because it fell into our zone. This would have been called a proximal entry. Well, what does that mean? Let me take this out. Are you guys seeing that? Price went up, retested one time. Now price is back there again. You say, hold on a second. So are we in a trade or not? You got to be a little bit patient. We're paying attention to this candle right around here, and we don't want to catch a falling knife, but we don't know if this is going to be a deeper retest. So watch this. Let's go to a lower time frame to see what's going on. Can somebody tell me what you're starting to see? Let me know if you're starting to see this. Who's starting to come into the market around that area? Somebody talk to me. Who? The buyers. Remember, we're respecting market structure. Price is going up. It's retested. Watch this. 1 time, 2 times, now at 3 times. Watch this. Let's go ahead and put in a trade. We're going to do 1 contract. Remember, we're looking only to get a max of 30 points. Every 10 points is $500. Are you guys tracking? Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my adjustment. And I'm going to use my box again. You guys see it. Remember, I like to use 10%, which is $12.25. Track with me. I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to drop it down $12.25. You guys see that? Look at that. So on this whole trade, if I'm wrong, I just lose $450. Does everybody see that, right? Proper risk to reward ratio. You got to have a system in place that doesn't change despite you might. And I need to go a little bit lower because it needs to be right around here. So let me make a little bit of an adjustment right to the bottom of that box. And the total risk on this trade is $600. Does everybody see it? Now, account size. We're trading with an account size on the demo of 123,989. So we typically can risk 1,239. So let's just call it 124. Okay, 1,024. So our risk management is in place, folks. Our risk management is in place. Now, on average, you want to find a setup that you can at least get a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So watch what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take out my long tool. And if that was my entry, I want to take it till I at least see a 2-to-1. So that's a 2-to-1 right down here. Let's go to a 3-to-1. It doesn't mean that we're going to stay in the trade that long, but we do want to be able to have some high quality setups if we're in the trade. So let me just ask, right? If you're new to this, would you risk 600 for the chance to make 1,700? Somebody talk to me, please. Now, let me flip the camera around because I got some TikTokers, they're watching. So, folks, I got 153 people watching. Can I go ahead and get a follow from you, please? If you've jumped on my channel and you've gotten some value, can you go ahead and hit the follow button? Yep. And then also, I want to say this as well. I want to see who I'm talking to. How many people on this call would like to learn how to trade futures? Somebody talk to me. Like, who would think that trading futures would be a great idea? I think that's so huge, and a lot of people have heard the concept and they're like, man, it sounds cool, but just imagine if you could trade something that you could actually see what's actually moving society. And that's what I love about futures, man. Futures is different, man. It gives you a perspective on what's moving the markets. And when you see what's moving the markets, you start to understand there's things that I need to know as a trader. And watch this. One of the things that you need to know is you've got to understand how the banks are moving. Do you think that's important? Like it's one thing to say, hey, I'm trading. It's another thing to see how the banks are moving and what they're doing and how you can position yourself to learn what they learn. Does that make sense? So here's the big takeaway today is one, we don't want to chase candles. When you're chasing candles, what starts to happen is you're all over the place. So a lot of times institutions will use that as a liquidity grab. They'll give you the head fake. They'll give you the fake out. They'll take the money and then drive that in the market. So we definitely want to be on the opposite side of that. Does that make some sense? So let's go back to this, and then I'm going to explain just a quick learning session on what the banks know that you need to know, and this can be a real game changer. Is that fair? Okay, so let's look back at our trade right now, and I'm flipping the camera around. And guys, if you're just tuning in, I'm streaming this on TikTok. I'm streaming this on YouTube channel. I'm streaming this in our Facebook group. And so just look at it, folks. We're in this trade right now. We've been in for a couple of minutes. We had one trade that we took a loss. We're on trade number 2. Currently, we're trading one S&P 500 contract per $1 move. 1 point move, you make $50. Isn't that pretty awesome? So as a scalper, if I can catch a 10-point move, $500. If I can catch a 20-point move, $1,000. Does that make sense? A 30-point move, $3,000. So we can zoom in right out here, right? We can zoom in. We're looking at the 5-minute, and notice what's starting to happen. We had an entry right around this area. We're starting to get momentum. Let me just flip this around. I'm going to see if am I the only one excited? I could see if I was doing a tax class and we were just talking about taxes, but somebody talk to me, please, right? Isn't it not fun that you can have the potential to grab some money in the markets? We're doing this stuff live. Yes. And here's what I like about this. What I like about this is, in all due respect, man, we've got business owners on here. We've got people that are working. We've got people that say, listen, I've been wanting to trade. And let me tell you one of the most liberating things. Please listen to me. One of the most liberating things regarding trading is that you don't have to ask somebody else's permission to make money. Put a 10 in the chat if you like that idea. Like, you could legitimately say, I want to get a raise today. You can do this before work. If you're trading futures, right, just staying down, you can trade this 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. Somebody talk to me. 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. So watch this. You got time. Now, you don't understand, coach. I got to get to work early. I get off by 5 o'clock. I say, you know what's about to open? What's that? Japan is about to open. Australia's about to open. You stay up late, London's going to open. You know what's going to happen next? New York's going to open. Let me go old school. As the world turns. So trading futures will help you to have a global perspective of what's going on. If you haven't given me a follow, make sure you go and give me a follow. Your fingers are not broke. Go to give me some support. Give me a follow. Tell me that you're getting some value. You know why I say that? People will stare, and they just won't say yes. Now, forgive me, man. I came up with a Baptist background. I don't know if you guys can hear it. But that's what kind of led me on the idea of teaching in a way that it starts to click with people. So let me share the mission, right? Because I got some people that don't know who this guy is with his hat backwards talking. I have an organization called Kingdom Day Traders. What is the mission? The mission is to reach 1 million people. Now, when I started, right, I got older videos. I started with 10,000 because I kind of thought maybe with the internet I could reach that. And you know what the Lord told me in my spirit? Go bigger. Okay, 100,000. And the reason I chose that is we put a podcast, and in a short amount of time, we had over 100,000 views. And I said, wow, I mean, I do it. And then watch this. Something else changed. Take it bigger. So now we want to touch 1 million people. Teaching people the skills of day trading so you can live life on purpose and ultimately build God's kingdom. I don't know if you guys think that's awesome, but I think that's awesome. Somebody says, how do we join your community? Great question. In my bio, you see my website, KDTInstitute.com. If you would like to attend a free class, go to where it says KDTInstitute.com/apply. It just asks a couple of questions, and it will allow you to come to one of our live trainings, man. And we want to work with people that are serious. Does that make some sense? So I want to show you something right quick. Are we having a good time, or is it just me? I mean, I know I've had coffee, triple espresso, one Splenda, 4 coconut shots, no sugar. I'm feeling good right now. So let's get back to the market. And one thing I want to tell everybody is learning the markets doesn't have to be hard. It should be fun. You should follow somebody that gives you some inspiration and lets you know what's possible. Does that make sense? Now, normally I get this question, right? And I got 186 people watching. I'm going to assume, because you guys are nice, that I got 186 new followers because you're learning. Yes, I'm talking fast and I'm talking animated, but you're saying, you know what, I want to support this guy. And so watch the support. I'll get the support even if you never pay me $1 by just hitting a follow button or hitting a like button. So watch this. Do you see where I'm risking the $600? Do you guys see this? Now, what I'm doing right now, this is called a trailing stop, but I'm doing a manual trailing stop. So watch this. I'm going to take this and just go up a little bit higher because the market is starting to go in the direction that I want. And so notice what happened. Instead of me risking 600, it's down to 400. Woo! Put a 10 in the chat if you don't think that's awesome. So as this moves up higher, I can eventually get to a risk-free trade. And I can start to trade with the house's money. Somebody tell me, is that not awesome? So here's the first rule of thumb. And let's look at it, right? We're starting to get the buyers in. Watch this. But I want to show you an institutional tool. And then I'm going to do a bit of a training if you want to hang on here. I want to show you that the institutions are playing a whole different game. The institutions can see all the moves. A lot of retail traders are playing checkers and the institutions are playing chess. You guys see what I'm doing? You say, hold on, man. This looks like hieroglyphics. Just chill out, relax. I got you. I got you. This one candle, which this is the buy side and the sell side. Let me show you what I'm telling you right now. If you're on TikTok, I'll flip the camera around. If you're on LinkedIn and everywhere else, let me explain it. We're using something called the footprint chart. And the footprint chart is what institutions use day in, day out. They can see buy orders. They can see sell orders. They know exactly where your stop losses are. Did you hear what I just said? They know that typically the retail trader will put their stop loss where everybody puts their stop loss. And then they'll put their take profit where everybody put their take profit. So there's so much manipulation that takes place. Now watch what's going on, right? I'm going to show you what's going on in this candle. And we're going to see something called divergence. Just track with me, right? Because now we're in the negative and no worries. I bet that it'll probably hit the stop loss. No worries. But let me explain what I'm talking about. So divergence is this. Who sees that right out here, we had 10,000 in value just on this one candle? You guys see it? On the right side is buyers, left side is sellers. The buy orders minus the sell orders creates the delta. Does that make sense? So right out here, we had a positive delta of 445, but next to it, now look at what's going on. We have a negative delta. So we got to ask ourselves this question. What zone did we run into where there's a bunch of selling going on? Can I help you out? Everybody say divergence. Listen, I'm about to get excited. Hold on. I want to teach on this one, but I got to get some more follows. So wait. I need everybody to pay attention to me. I'm about to show you something live that when I learned this for the first time, I said, my gracious, this is exciting. So do me a favor. If you haven't followed me yet, do it right now. I want to show you something on a chart that you cannot unsee. It's like me say, hey, look at Clifford the Red Dog and do me a favor, don't see him. I'm going to show you the information and how this information is a game changer, but you got to go in and do something for me. You got to go and give me a follow. If you're watching me on LinkedIn, don't be lazy. Type in, hey, I like this stuff. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, talk to me, please. Are you guys ready? I'm going to show you something called divergence, but you're going to see it live. Track with me. So I want you to look at the last two candles. And you let me know if you see this. Who sees 212,000 in buying value or just volume in general? Type a yes if you see this. Type a yes. Yep. Do you see it? And now look at the next one. 11,002 or 11,016. Does that make any sense how the sellers were rocking this and making it look like it was just going to fall down forever? And now all of a sudden you have this. Everybody say divergence. This doesn't add up. The numbers are saying one thing, meaning the manipulation is saying one thing, but the institutions did that so you could chase it so that they can take it to the upside. Hold on, man. Let me flip the camera around. I guess people need to have a cup of coffee. Is that making sense over here? Like, once you start to understand the games that these people do and the level of it, it will blow your mind day in, day out. Did you hear what I just said? So here's an epiphany. You guys ready? Here's the epiphany. The epiphany is that if I'm going to be trading, I have to understand what they're doing because I can't trade against them. I need to trade with them. They're too strong. They've got a strong military, using that for what's going on. They've got insight. They're doing all of these different things. And so it's my job to understand their playbook. Let me do this. We're about to have some fun. Let me do this. I'm going to flip this around. Guys, let me know if you can see my screen. Watch what it says. What banks know that you don't. Come on, man. We're about to learn. Here's the uncomfortable truth. 70% of retail traders lose money every quarter. 70%. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't care if you're an attorney. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire. Has nothing to do with it. And the reason is they think that the market is random, but it's engineered by institutions with billions in capital in real-time order flow. Retail traders are not the competition. They trade against institutions who set the traps and collect liquidity. Is this helping somebody? I know some people, show me the candles, show me the candles. No, you need to understand why the candles are moving. If you can get the game, you can do it. So there's really two different worlds going on. Now, let me just do this right. I'm just going to take my face out altogether if you guys don't mind and just teach. Yeah, I just want you just to get this knowledge, man. Is retailers react to the news and institutions create the news. Retailers follow the indicators. Institutions read order flow. Do you know what we were just doing, right? We were looking at order flow. We wanted to see where the stops were. Write this stuff down if you want to write it down. DOM. Write it down, please. DOM. Depth of markets. Depth of markets. You got to know it. Trade structure, systematic, disciplined, and repeatable. Notice the tool that I showed you, which was the ATR, which told you that you can risk up to 2% of the daily ATR or 10%. And I said, utilize that based on what you're trading. And look at the last one, 93% win rate. In 2024, out of 252 days of trading, they won 235. Now, listen, man, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but if you win in 93% of the time, guess what? I'm going to sit right next to you. Somebody talk to me. Would you sit next to somebody that was winning 93% of the time? And proverbially speaking, would you not want to learn from somebody that is winning at that level so that you can win at that level? Let's keep on going. That's the stuff that we got to earn. So what I want to show right now is I want to show you 4 tools that the institutions are using. And if you're not utilizing this or you don't understand this, you need to get into the game. Now, let me just ask, and I'm going to have these call to actions. If you've been listening to me and you've gotten some value, is it fair that you give me a follow? LinkedIn, I know people don't talk like TikTok and everything, but does it look like I know what I'm talking about a little bit? And here's why I say this. The way that my organization reaches 1 million people, it's not through me. It's through me equipping and creating new Kingdom Day Trader coaches that have went through the material and they can teach other people. Let me ask, do you think that there's uncertainty going on right now as we speak? And you know what the answer is? Absolutely it is. Do you think that there's people that can have a skill set and this skill set can really change somebody's life if somebody just took time just to explain what's going on? Do you think that's important? Absolutely. So I want to introduce people to a market that regardless of it going up or down, you can still make money. Let me give this, and I want to speak in a way as if you're brand spanking new. In the markets, you can make money in three directions: up, down, and sideways. Does that make sense? 9 times out of 10, you'll make more money shorting the markets, meaning the market's dropping, than you seeing the markets run. So the big epiphany is this, right? Money can be made, but if you don't know how to make the money, you know it's costing you something. You say, well, what is it costing me? It's something called opportunity cost. If you don't know how to make $5,000 a month from the markets, it's costing you $60,000 a year because you don't know how to make the money. So let's look at this right quick, right? You ready? Let's look at this one. We need to understand, what does order flow analysis mean? We need to understand, where is the real liquidity? We need to understand systematic frameworks. And you know what my acronym for system is, right? Save yourself time, emotions, and money. Can I get an amen if you like that acronym for system? Save yourself time, emotions, and money. And then lastly, market structure, accumulation, markup, distribution. You need to know all of this. If you don't know what I'm talking about right now, you're literally playing against pros. And I'm going to tell you how it's going to work out for you. It's not going to work out good. Let's zoom out a little bit, right? Because people are starting to learn. I'm starting to feel the energy is shifting. You guys ready? What is the accumulation phase? When are the institutions setting up the move? What if I told you different time frames or when the moves get set up? So for instance, if you're trading the Australia session, right, that could be a time that they're setting up the move, right? And they're setting this move up because they know that we have to draw price to one direction so that we can get it to another direction. Is that making sense? So if I can kind of give you the head fake or make you believe that it's going up when we want it to go down, the question is, why would they do that? Very, very simple. They need your money, liquidity, to make the move. So I want to give everybody a epiphany. You guys ready? Let me sip this coffee. The banks are not your friend. The bank's job is to make a profit. The bank's job is to go to their shareholders and say, look at our profits, look what we're doing. So watch what's going on, right? And this is the epiphany that messes with a lot of people. You would assume that your bank, Navy Federal, Wells Fargo, Chase, watch this, has a fiduciary responsibility to trade in your best interests. But if you want to go online and do some research, you know what you'll find out? Oftentimes, the banks trade against their customers. So the big takeaway is what do the banks know that you don't know? Let's bring this back up to the stage. They know that the market moves in different phases. Now, if you want to go deeper with this one, I want you to write down this word, right? I'm giving you the game over here, right? I want somebody to write down the word Wyckoff. I'm going to spell it for you. W-Y-C-K-O-F-F. W-Y-C-K-O-F-F. Somebody type it in the chat if you're listening to me right now. I am giving you the game. There's no excuses. You can't say, God, why me? I am telling you stuff that you can feed your mind if you really want to learn how to trade. So Wyckoff, W-Y-C-K-O-F-F, theory, Wyckoff theory. Now, you know, Wyckoff was around in the 1920s. He's one of the grandfathers of something called supply and demand. He was able in the 1920s to see these different setups. He was able to see what is accumulation. He was able to see the move that's going to happen. He was able to see the distribution. Very oftentimes, people are trading, but they don't have any head knowledge. You're jumping in. Have you ever thought about this? I can't call myself a scientist if I haven't had proof of concept. I can't call myself an accountant if I haven't taken accounting classes. But you can call yourself a trader and never even got educated. How crazy is that? So let me tell you what's going on. I want you to think about this. You know, there's a lot of free stuff online, right? And sidebar, I've been doing this since 2014, coaching over since 2005. That's 20 years in the game, 21 years. Got the gray hair to prove it. What I've learned is that the institutions know that the average person, and this is not being derogatory, but they call us dumb money. They believe that the average retailer will lose their accounts in 90 days. So what if I told you they take these accounts and they put them in two stacks? Stack one, they trade against you, which they're hedging that you're going to blow out all your money in 90 days. Stack two, they trade with you. Now, there's a book that we give our students, or we used to back in the day, called Naked Forex. And it'd explain how these companies and brokers have all of these games going on. It's mind-boggling to think that the average person just doesn't know this. And so let me flip the camera around. Folks, if you haven't given me a follow, go ahead and give me a follow. And then also, if you want to come to one of my live classes, I'm talking about, it's on Zoom. You can ask questions. And then if you're in the North Dallas area, I want to invite you to apply, where we can just ask a couple of questions, see where you're in your journey, and you can come to the headquarters and sit down with me and some of my other coaches to really be able to show you what this stuff looks like. So let me flip this around. I got a couple of more minutes and we'll do it. Can I ask a crazy question? Are we getting some value today? Are we getting some value today? Good. Somebody talk to me, please. So read the headline. It was never a false breakout. It was a liquidity sweep. Institutions can see the order book. I just showed you. They can see it. They know exactly where the retail stop orders are sitting. Now watch this. I want you to think about this. Do you know that I can go on any website, or not any website, but I can go online, ask about trading. I can learn about double bottoms, double tops, where to put the stop loss. Have you ever thought about, why would a bank give me a playbook to beat them when they need my money to make money? I just want to throw this out there. Somebody talk to me, right? What kind of sense would that make, that you're trading against me, but you're also telling me this is where I put my stop losses? Anybody listening? So here's what happens, and this is kind of why we have an application process, right? I'm looking for the person who is serious about this and not is just trying to get some gems. I'm talking to the person that literally wants to make some consistent, dependable money where they can supplement their money, but also build long-term wealth. Everybody type in number 2 if you're feeling me on this one. Who would like to be able to knock out some debt? Can I get an amen? A Visa, MasterCard, American Express, maybe paying off the mortgage, knocking out some of those property taxes. Am I speaking to you? Come on, somebody. Who would like to be able to do this full time? You do what I'm doing right now. You know, I don't have no boss that's coming through this door. You're looking at them. Yep. You know, it's funny, man. I just went on a vacation to Cancun, and sidebar, it was easy to go to Mexico. You know who paid for it? NASDAQ. NASDAQ gave me 30 points, and those 30 points was $1,500. And I was able to use my points from my flights because I do a lot of flying, and NASDAQ paid for it. How awesome would it be if you could leverage the markets to do what you want to do? I just want to see who I'm talking to, because that's the people that I want to sit down with. I'm not looking for somebody that's talking about AI butts and kids. I'm talking about people that are serious. So let me flip it around right quick, and we're having a good time. Let's read this so we can get knowledge. Retail places stops below the recent low. This is textbook. Risk management, and institutions know it. Ta-da! They know your move. Institutions push price just past the level. They trigger all the retail stops, collect the money. Retail calls this a false breakout. Nope, it was a liquidity sweep. Institutions reverse and make their real move, right? And the liquidity is corrected and price moves in the intended direction. Is this helping somebody? Are we learning right now? Chris says this isn't true, and we know Chris don't know what he's talking about, because Chris doesn't work for Goldman Sachs, doesn't work for any of these places. So let's disregard Chris, because he don't know what he's talking about. Bye, Chris. Now, I'm saying that because I want people to understand that this stuff is not just random. It's happening time and time again, but the frustration messes you up because you got to understand the traps. And that's really the takeaway that we're doing right now. We want to see what the traps are, and we want to stay away from the traps. So here's the first trap. Trading the pattern, not the institution. You're saying, well, it has to be here, but you don't know where the institutions are moving. So let me do this quickly. Let's go ahead and check on our trade right quick. Let's just see what's going on. And notice what we're seeing. It's a little choppy. No worries. 212, we get it at 41,000. Why did I want to see this, right? As we weren't watching, let me just go ahead and show you. It went to a high. Let me see if I'm on the right screen. Bear with me. It went up almost 650. So remember I said as a scalper, we're wanting to grab 10, 20, 30 points. If this goes up 10 points, we've made $500. But do you see why I have to have my risk and reward ratios in place? Because watch this. I don't know what this candle wants to do. I can look at it. I don't have a magic ball. Matter of fact, a tweet can come out as we're teaching right now. But what I have to have intact is always a system to protect me. Let me flip the camera around. Does that make sense? I just want to say that to all potential traders. Stop believing that you have a magic ball. You've got the special knowledge. You do not know what these institutions are going to do. So what you have to formulate in the beginning is you need to tell yourself, I'm going to always have a stop, always have an entry, always have a take profit. Does that make sense? Now, I want to go on this and then we'll go ahead and finish up right now. And hopefully you guys are getting value. We're up to 190 people that are watching me on TikTok. We've got a good amount of people that's on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. I just want to ask the question, had I earned your right for you to give me a follow? And here's why. We want to reach 1 million people, teaching people the skills of trading so you can live life on purpose and build God's kingdom. This is a faith-based organization. I call this marketplace ministry. And here's what I mean by ministry. I feel that there's so many people that need help in their finances. And listen, I'm not trying to be doomsday over here, but I don't think things are getting better. I think they're going to get worse. Type an amen or a 7 in the chat if you believe that. I just don't believe that we just go through all of this and we've got the war stuff going on and the oil prices and things are just, cotton candy. No, I believe that you've got to have a skill set. Because if you don't have this skill set and you're just depending on what your employer does, you're going to find out, almost like COVID time, that if times get hard, companies will cut you. And the scariest part is to have all your eggs in one basket and somebody breaks your basket. Let me share these last 4 traps and then we are out of here today. Everybody say 4 traps. Trap number 1, trading the platform, not the institution. Patterns don't move the market, the institutions move the market, and you need to understand where their footprint is that they're leaving behind. Number 2, entering in on the breakout. You want to catch it, and a lot of people mess up on this one when the candle breaks out, but when you enter in on the breakout, you become the liquidity on the chart. The institution is collecting, and you're the exit that they needed. Number 3, using news as a trading signal. You're going to find very quickly you could have good news that comes out that you think and the markets can drop. You can have bad news that comes out and it goes up. And last one, this is so important today. No macro context before entering, meaning that you don't understand what moves the market. You just think that every day is just this pattern, but you're going to find out, and this is macro news. I did it earlier on the call today, right? Let me flip the camera around. The macro news is understanding headlines a lot of times will drive the markets. You need to be aware of what those headlines are saying. Is this helping? So I want to go ahead and say this. If you guys got some value today, I want to invite you to go to my website. It is the KDT Institute. We are a professional organization. I've been doing this for a long time. I want to show you as I'm speaking on stage right now. This was at the Drake Hotel in Chicago. I'm actually doing some mindset training, but I want you to see what we stand for. And right at the top over here, you can apply for access, or you can come to one of my free trainings, which I'm going to be doing another one, and you can book a 15-minute call. And I believe that documentation beats conversation. Anybody can do a bunch of talking. Show me the proof in the pudding that you know what you're talking about. And that's what I'm about. Our organization is willing to work with people that are serious. And what we've learned is there a lot of people that want to trade, but there's a lot of people that should not be trading. And so go ahead and check us out, man. You can see what we stand for, student testimonials, real live stuff that I'm doing right now. And if you're willing to go and show up, we'll show up with you, if that makes some sense. So in closing, the question you need to ask yourself today is, should I be trading futures? And if I want to trade futures, how can I learn futures? How can I do something right that I can get in front of the major things that move the world and the economy? And I'm going to say the futures market does that. The futures market comes out of the CME Group, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It's based in Chicago. It's centralized. It is a day trading paradise because of the movements that you can catch. Okay? So folks, go ahead and be blessed. Have an amazing day. Thank you for watching. God bless you guys. Cheers now. Thank you. See you, everybody. Thank you for watching.